about
So how does the
1.3
Swiss do
million
it?
people and 10,000 people. In a way,
I'd love to
even
enter the
regular
tourist.
Is it a tray?
I want
When I see some certain things in other countries, I just look and I laugh and I'm like,
Are we barbarians over here?
hi guys.
Welcome back again to the channel. So today we are going to be checking out a video from the channel, Not Just Bikes. Do well to check him out. And this video is why Swiss trains are the best in Europe. We've checked out a couple of train video, I think like 2, and we saw the high speed and how fast trains can go, and trains has evolved over the years. So today we are going to be checking out the best train in Europe. So let's get right into the video, guys.
This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream and Nebula, which is possibly the best bundle deal in video streaming, but more about that later. I live in the Netherlands, where we have some pretty good trains. There's a dense network that connects nearly all major towns and cities.
Okay.
The busiest train station, Utrecht Centraal, has over 1,000 train departures per day.
What? Oh,
And there are also high-speed trains to neighboring countries. For example, I can go to Paris in less than 3.5 hours. But as good as we have it,
You mean from Netherlands to Paris, 3.5 hours? How fast is
That's
the train?
impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive.
here in the Netherlands,
And how
there's
close are
another
they?
country in Europe that does trains better.
Wow.
Much better,
I
in
thought
fact.
so. Netherlands.
Welcome to the Confederatio Helvetica, or as I like to call it, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Famous for mountains, holy cheese, chocolate, bendy knives, and time bracelets, and of course,
Wow.
trains.
Wow.
Lots and lots of trains.
Wow.
I think it's one of the most
I've been to
popular means
Switzerland
of transportation
many times, and
in
I've taken the
Europe.
train every
Yes,
time.
actually, like Europe, do they have taxis in Europe, like
Yeah,
cabs?
I think so. But you know,
But the major, do they even travel on aircraft?
definitely.
Yeah, let me know in the comment section. Do you guys travel in planes? Because most of the time you see transport like in especially on train. I saw a video on TikTok, like they were saying from Netherlands to Paris, from Paris, like but using train and how fast it is. So I'm just wondering, like, are trains in Europe faster than the airplanes?
Could be.
No,
Or
because
it's just
of course
durable and
it's the most
flexible?
efficient way to get around. But recently, I stayed a full week in Switzerland and took multiple trains per day to find out what makes these trains the best trains in Europe.
Okay. They're
One of the
beautiful.
things that really sets the train system apart in Switzerland is just how extensive it is.
Yeah.
Look at this
They
map.
look big.
There are train stations everywhere.
What?
There are towns, tiny towns, that have consistent, reliable train service every 30 minutes. In many other countries, they wouldn't even provide bus service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Small. Some of the smallest towns have request stop service, where you need to press this button to have the train stop. But there's still train service. And this train station that services only a single cafe, a ski lift, and a hiking trail has service every 30 minutes. Meanwhile, the city of Calgary in Canada, a city of 1.3 million people, has no intercity train service at all. Zurich also has about
So how does the
1.3
Swiss do
million
it?
people, but almost 3,000 trains per
I think
day.
they
with train
consider
times
that
so
their
frequent,
citizens
you don't even need to look at a
highly.
schedule.
No matter where they
So
are.
if you're taking the train here, you won't have to wait very long. Frequencies like this are the gold standard of public transportation, but this is really only feasible in more populated areas. So how do they provide such good train service to
Yeah.
smaller towns and villages?
Yeah, I want to know.
Well, Switzerland is a relatively small country by land area, and some people may assume that's why the public transit can be so good. But these Wikipedia-level statistics can be very misleading. Because by population, Swiss cities actually aren't that big. After Zurich, the next largest city, Geneva, has only about 600,000 people in the whole region. In fact, almost 50% of the entire population of Switzerland lives in small villages of less than 10,000 people. In a way, Switzerland is a sprawling country, but instead of car-dependent suburban sprawl like you'd see in North America, it's village sprawl. Yet the
Wow.
country still manages to cover this highly dispersed population with exceptional public transport.
Wow.
Switzerland uses what is called Clockface scheduling. For example, a transit vehicle that comes every 30 minutes will always come at 15 minutes and 45 minutes after the hour, or 5 minutes and 35 minutes, or maybe it's 4 times per hour at 5, 20, 35, and 50 minutes past the hour, but regardless, it's consistent. And it goes all day, so that regular users won't have to think too much about the schedule. This is actually pretty normal, and many countries schedule their public transit this way, including the Netherlands and Germany.
Wow.
But Switzerland takes this a step further by synchronizing their timetables across the entire country, a method called pulse timetabling or integrated timetables. Here's how it works. Train departure times at a train station are staggered, so that trains may be arriving every 30 minutes at, say, 15 minutes past the hour, and departing in a different direction at, say, 25 minutes past the hour. This way, most people arriving at the station will have at most 10 minutes to wait for their connecting train.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Switzerland integrates these timetables throughout the entire network, across the entire country, to minimize connection durations as much as possible. Not Just Bikes viewer Jock Tur has written a great article about this that I'll link to in the description, but here's a quick summary for those of you who are allergic to reading. His analysis, done at 10 a.m. on a Friday, so outside of rush hour, shows that across the entire Swiss train network, the average wait time for a connection is 8.4 minutes, with 77% of all possible connections being 10 minutes or less.
And over here, flights are delayed for 9 hours.
And it means that even a trip with multiple train connections is only marginally longer than a single direct train. Another benefit of integrated timetabling is that the Swiss can squeeze the most capacity possible out of their network. Switzerland is an incredibly mountainous country, and that means that building rail lines is extremely expensive. So there aren't a lot of individual rail lines, and a small number of routes need to be shared by a large number of rail services. This tight scheduling is the only way a route like this could operate with only a single track through the mountains.
It's going through the tunnel.
For example, while traveling through the south of Switzerland, our train occasionally needed to wait briefly for another train to clear the tunnel, which was only a single track. But wait times were short, and we always arrived on time.
Wow.
Of course, in order to pull this off, the trains need to arrive when they're supposed to arrive, and Swiss trains are famously punctual. The official statistic is that 91.9% of all trains arrive on time, but it's even better than it sounds. First of all, on time is defined as within 3 minutes of the scheduled arrival time. This is a much stricter definition than you'll find in many other countries. Here in the Netherlands, for example, the national carrier, Nederlandse Spoorwegen, considers a train to be on time if it's within 5 minutes of the scheduled arrival time. And where I used to live in the Greater Toronto area, Go Transit uses a 15-minute metric for on-time performance for a region that is a tiny fraction the size of Switzerland, but with a similar population. And if you think that's bad, Via Rail in Canada says that 71% of their trains are on time, but they don't publish what metric they use. But anyway, what's really impressive about the Swiss train network is the connection punctuality. 98.9% of trains in Switzerland allow their passengers to make their connection, which is amazing. After all, arriving at home 5 minutes late one day isn't really a big deal, but just missing your connection to a train that only leaves every 30 minutes is much worse.
Yeah.
But enough statistics and graphs. What is it actually like to take the train in Switzerland? Well, first of all, the train...
Actually, I just want to say something. Over here, you see them... Although train is not like our major means of transportation.
No.
We have shuttle, we have buses, taxis. It's like...
I think buses and taxis are
the major. We train. I think it's just one train we have maybe. I will always have this train breakdown and all.
Yeah.
But to say that the punctuality metrics, statistics there is like 98. Even here, and one of the major means of transportation here is as well is flight. Like your flights can be delayed for 24 hours a day, or can even push it to the next day or the next 2 days. It's that bad. Or cancel it entirely. So this is really impressive. Like it goes a long way towards like it's impressive, you guys.
Trains are really nice. Every train I took was modern, clean, and comfortable.
Wow.
In the mountain regions, there are even trains with windows like this to enjoy the view. And you definitely want to get a good view when the landscape looks like this. There are also tourist trains like the Glacier Express that are even better, but more about that later.
What?
But even the regular intercity trains are great.
Is it a train?
I want you to look at this scene for a moment. How frickin' civilized is this?
You only see
Very.
this
Seriously
in
tell me you'd rather sit in
bougie
traffic on
old
a highway,
movies.
tied to your seat with a belt, constantly needing to pay attention, with no way to comfortably eat or even take a piss. Instead
Yes.
of this? I refuse to believe that there's any better way to travel than
I will literally just go to the train station and spend my entire day in the train. Anywhere the train is going, just take me there. This is
If the train runs for 24 hours, like, I guess I'm relocating to the train.
what? This is really impressive. It's neat. It's
Well organized.
so
Everything is
serene.
just
like this
good.
one. I was also impressed at how many trains had level boarding and direct access to wheelchair areas and accessible
wow.
restrooms.
Wow.
It wasn't every car on every service, but it's clear that Switzerland is making a concerted effort to ensure that their network remains accessible to everyone.
What?
And every station I visited had ramps or elevators too.
Imagine.
Though, as I was filming my walk to my connecting train, I wasn't expecting to see this guy take the escalator. Damn!
How is
How
that
is that
possible?
Individual
possible?
train trips in Switzerland can be quite expensive, but for residents, it's quite common to have half-price or regional travel cards loaded onto a Swiss pass. And some people are even provided an unlimited travel card by their employer.
Wow.
For most of the week, I traveled second class, and in every case, this was more than good enough.
Yes.
But for the last 4 days, I bought a countrywide travel pass for first class, just to see the difference. Thank you, Patreon supporters! First
Wow.
class is an upgrade, but it's not significant and probably not worth the price unless the route you're taking is expected to be really busy. However, some of the trains have business zones like this one that are extremely comfortable, and I was able to get a few hours of work done while in transit too.
Wow.
There's
Wow.
a famous quote by the former mayor of Bogota. A developed country is not a place where the poor have cars. It's where the rich use public transportation. And that is absolutely the case in Switzerland.
Beautiful word.
When I was traveling first class, I routinely saw well-dressed people and professionals like this who opened their laptop to debrief after a business meeting. I believe that having wealthy people take public transportation is important because, for better or for worse, these people are likely to have the power and political influence to demand efficient service.
Oh.
For planning your journey, the SBB app is fantastic. You choose your route and it shows you exactly how long it's going to take and where you need to change, with a list of every station in between. And it will even show you the layout of the station and the exact path between platforms. Changing trains doesn't get any easier than this. Here is an example of a typical train trip, one of the many I took during my week in Switzerland. In any other country, I'd be worried about taking a trip with this many changes. But when you're likely to catch a connection, in 99% of cases, it's
So beautiful.
not a problem at all.
Like really beautiful.
Here, I look at my first connection. The app shows me where I need to stand on the platform for my train, as well as an estimate of how busy
Very
each
efficient.
carriage is. The app tells me exactly where I need to get off to change trains and which platform I'm going to. And I get a notification when we're getting close. Changing trains is
Like you get- when you
trivial
get-
because
that
I know
is-
exactly where I'm arriving
Wait.
and which platform I need to get
So when you get to a certain location, you now
This
change
is
to
an
another
older train,
train.
but it's still clean and comfortable. My next train was running almost 3 minutes late, and the app warned me that the connection might not be possible. But of course, it was perfectly fine, and I got to my next train with plenty of time to spare.
Wow.
Even when the connection involved a transfer to a bus, it was waiting right outside,
But there's a bus.
because the schedules are properly aligned even to a connecting bus service.
Wow.
So was all of my travel perfect in Switzerland?
Yes.
Well, no.
Huh?
I took about 24 trains while I was there, and I was unlucky enough, or lucky enough for the purpose of this video, to miss one of my connections. So, what was that like? Well, first, the train was late because of a delay in another country. Ooh, Switzerland throwing Italy under the bus. I mean, train. But from what I've been told, many of the Swiss trains that are late because they're coming from another country. So this was a pretty
Okay.
typical experience. So anyway, my train was late and I missed my connection. Now, there have been many times in my life where I've been driving between cities and I end up being half an hour late or an hour late or more because of unexpected car traffic. This is just a normal part of travel, especially in places with no alternatives to driving. But being stuck in stop-and-go traffic like this sucks. It sucks a lot, and I hate it. When I missed my connection in Switzerland, I was in a tiny town of only 13,000 people. But while I waited, I was able to grab something to eat, and I stepped outside to enjoy the view. When you
I hear
drive in
the birds
traffic, you
singing.
don't really know how long it's going to be, and it's stressful and frustrating. This delay was the exact polar opposite of that. In fact, it was a really enjoyable break. I just wonder how much better the world would be if people's travel delays were like this
Yeah.
instead of like this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It just blows my mind that even a delayed train trip in Switzerland was better than almost any intercity driving trip I've ever done in the US or Canada.
Yeah.
And can I just point out that this town of 13,000 people has regular train service, including
Imagine.
international trains?
Wow.
But the best part about traveling in Switzerland was that whenever I got to my destination, no matter where it was always a short walk, tram trip, or gondola journey directly to where I wanted to go. Because every Swiss city, town, and village is designed properly to be mixed use and walkable. This was the very first time that I returned to the Netherlands after a trip abroad and didn't think to myself, oh, finally, back to civilization. It's easy to feel that way when coming back from a trip to North America because everything is just so terrible there by comparison.
Wow.
But returning from Switzerland was different. Everything
This is a
just
double
seemed a
deck.
bit less polished.
It looks like.
Despite getting on a recently renovated train back to Amsterdam South, it still seemed kind of rickety and noisy compared to the train I left in Zurich.
Wait, this train
And
looks
I
like
almost
it's
missed
up
my
Yeah,
and
train
down.
down.
because I forgot to tap my OV chip card before boarding.
Double deck.
It was only at this point that I realized I hadn't gone through a fare gate for a train the whole time I was gone, which was really, really nice. Dutch cities are pretty great, and that's an understatement, and cycling is certainly better here than anywhere in Switzerland, and I talked about that in a previous video. But there's something to be said about a country that is so well set up with high quality, punctual, and efficient public transportation that makes traveling so easy. This carefree transportation felt like true freedom, more so than any car-dependent place I've ever been. Of course, one of the things they definitely don't have here in the Netherlands is mountains. So one of the highlights of my trip was taking the Glacier Express, a
Yeah.
scenic train that takes you through some of the most beautiful views in the Swiss Alps. I made a whole other video about what it's like to take the Glacier Express, and you can watch it now on Nebula. Nebula is the Streamy award-winning service that was created by and for educational video creators, just for professionally produced education.
Wow. This is actually very stunning. Switzerland is a beautiful country. I love the mountains as well. I'm a sucker for good mountains, good view, good landscape, and it's all that. And the fact they are not like
They are more civilized.
Yeah, it just took the word out of my mouth. They are
They
really
are very
civilized,
civilized.
and they put everybody and everything into consideration. Because even if a village or a city as little as, I won't actually say little, like the population is like 13,000, the transport there is still very efficient.
When I see some certain things in other countries, I just look and I laugh and I'm like,
Are we barbarians over here? We're just doing ourselves badly, treating ourselves wrongly and badly. This is, I don't think the Swiss or the people from Europe can survive here. I don't think so. The means of transportation is,
if we don't have a car, forget
forget
about it.
about it. We cannot even dive into the means of transportation.
I
Even
remember
the
back then when I used to walk in this zone 5 and everything, going to work, you have to fight
Yeah, I wanted to
for
say
transport.
that. I wanted to say
Coming
that.
back home, you still have to
To
fight. Like, there are so much
It's
people
rough.
and, little
transport system.
transport
Means
system.
of
So
transportation.
you literally have to fight your fellow passenger
Even when
to
they
get
brought,
a chance.
even when they brought this Aero 5, they call it Aero 5, but it's like tram, not like literally.
We were literally flying through the window
Windows
to enter the
You
bus.
have to queue. It's crazy. Our
Ah.
transportation here is messy.
Messed up.
Like if there's any worst way you want to think of transportation, just think about it over here. It's that.
I think back then, because of that, if I close from work, I like to wait till around 11:30. Even by that time, you see people still trying to get car like 11 in the night, and it's very risky because it's very late. You could literally be robbed. So what I did is that by that time I just try my possible best, because I know by that time people have
Reduce
reduced.
numbers.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And even the hold up, the traffic. Oh my god, I want to be in Switzerland. Really. I want to experience this whole civilized transport system, civilized country. It's something I know I've never experienced in my life,
After all,
to be honest. Let me know what you think about this down in the comment section. But this video is really informative and very,
it's enlightening.
it's enlightening, yeah. And the transport system there is very efficient, and I really want to experience. We really want to experience that one day. I will see you guys on my next one. Do not hesitate to like, subscribe. Love you so much. Bye.